Halftime Howie here with Ranger legend Pete Stemkowski, and last night was a special night in Long Beach as one of Long Beach's own, Charlie McAvoy, got picked in the very first round, the 14th overall by the Boston Bruins. Pete, you know the family. How great is this for Long Beach, for this young man to be picked by the Boston Bruins in the very first round?
Well, first of all, I think everybody's pretty excited. The fact that he got selected by an original 16, the Boston Bruins. I know the McAvoy family. They wear the Ranger crest on their sleeves, so they were a little disappointed in that aspect. But the Rangers didn't have a pick in the first round. But it's good that the kid started off here. He's born here, raised, grew up here, and then moved on a little bit and played a little competitive hockey. And the fact when you go in the first round, Howie, in the National Hockey League draft, that means you're one of the top 30 hockey players in the world, because as people know, not only you drafted Canada, the United States, but Europe, Russia, all over the place. So he's in the top 12 as far as the best young 18, 19-year-old hockey players in the world. So it's a great honor for not only the McAvoy family, but for the city of Long Beach.
Pete, explain the process. How soon can Long Beachers expect to see Charlie playing for the Bruins, and what do you feel that the next step in his development will be? What can we expect?
Well, how he's 18 years old. He'll turn 19 in August. He's about 6'3", about 195 pounds. So, he's going to have to obviously make a second and third trip to the buffet table to beef up a little bit. But, when you analyze it, I think he went to a good team. He went to a good organization. Howie, when I look at the Bruins, I look at their back ends. Zdeno Chara, who we all know, former, is going to be a future Hall of Famer. He's 39 years of age. Dennis Sennenberg, he's a defenseman. He's 36 years of age. And after that, as far as the Boston Bruins are concerned, there's a big drop-off back at the blue line. So he's going to get an opportunity. He's going to go to training camp in September. They're going to take a hard, long look at him. But if I was a betting man right now, I would probably say he's going to go back to Boston to college for another year, firm up, get a little tougher, and probably be in the National Hockey League next season, not this coming season.
Pete, talk about the fact that he plays college hockey in Boston. He obviously knows the area. He's comfortable in Boston. How much of that advantage will that be in his long-term success? The fact that he's so comfortable in his environment.
Well, kiddingly, he knows his way to the arena. I mean, he's been there for a couple of years now, so he knows his way around. And the fact that he's the big adjustment for me is when I was a junior. Obviously, at one time I played for the Toronto Marlies, and then I went on to play professional for the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's such a difference between playing with a bunch of teenagers, and that's what they are in college, and stepping up. And most of these guys in college, some of them go on and get drafted and go on to play the National Hockey League, and then some of them just move on into the private sector, the business sector, or whatever. But when you go into the National Hockey League, you're dealing with men, and they're man-sized, they're man physical strength, and you got to know what you're saying to these people. And I always tell these young kids, when you get into the National Hockey League, keep your mouth shut, your ears open, say as little as possible, and it's going to be a lot tougher than you expect, because these guys are strong and they're big. The good thing about him, he has all the physical attributes, and as he gets older, he'll get bigger, he'll get stronger, and he'll get smarter. So I look for a good future for Charles McAvoy.
Pete, I'm going to put you on the spot on a personal note, and I thought of you, I thought of Joe Klecko.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you why. Here's a parallel.
Same size?
Here's a parallel. Joe Klecko had a phenomenal career, a legend, like you're a legend in New York. And Joe Klecko, the one team he hated was the Patriots, because they knocked heads 15 years. Well, he retired. He was all pro at 3 different positions. And his son, Dan Klecko, went to Temple, was drafted by the Patriots. So all of a sudden, he had to like a team he despised. Now, you were, when you played, the Rangers and Bruins were bitter rivals. It's the team you probably disliked the most. You've been in Long Beach all these years. You know the McAvoy family. Can you see yourself rooting for the Bruins with a McAvoy on them?
Maybe I'll root for the Bruins whenever they play everybody else except the New York Rangers. And I know that he expressed, Rangers, anything Boston, New York. We don't, the Yankees don't like the Red Sox. The Patriots don't like the Giants. And and Celtics don't like the Knicks. We're going to have that rivalry forever. But the fact, how he got drafted by a National Hockey League team in the, in the 12th pick overall.
Right.
I mean, that's fantastic, and they had it projected at that. And for somebody to come out of Long Beach, and I want to explain to the folks, there's hockey skill on Long Island, but the best players usually come from Canada. That's where they play hockey 9 months of the year. So the fact that he grew up here, he got his growing pains here, he moved on a little bit, and he comes out of Long Beach, Long Island in the first round, that is a tremendous credit to him and his family.
And
Really.
Stemba, I think, to me, one of the most beautiful things about this is that, look, he could have been drafted by Ottawa, he could have been drafted by San Jose, Calgary. Well, let's face it, it would have been very difficult for the family to see him play a lot of times. But the fact that he's in Boston, it's only 4 hours away, not only does it give the family access to him, but his friends in Long Beach can take the short trip to Boston. I think that's a wonderful thing for the Long Beach community that Charles is going to play for a team not far away. To me, that's the biggest bonus of it all.
Well, I saw Charlie, the father, a week, 10 days ago, and we were kidding. I says, Arizona has 2 picks in the first round. Wouldn't it be nice to be picked by the Arizona Coyotes? I mean, imagine going out to Glendale, Arizona in February. You know how many family members that hand's going to go up? Yeah, I'm coming. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you get in your car right now in Long Beach, what are you, under 4 hours?
Absolutely.
You're in Boston, you got a good arena there. You got Cam Neely, you got some Hall of Famers that are running the show there. And look at the great defensemen that have come out of there in the past. I mean, you had Bobby Orr, Teddy Green, you had these kind of people, and now you got Zdeno Chara that's going to tutor him probably for a year or two.
I think there's the legacy, from Bobby Orr to Ted Green, Ray Bork, a Hall of Famer, Brad Parker, you played with us, was a great one, Zdeno Chara. So he's stepping into a legacy of great defensemen where he's going to be counted as the next generation. Because like you said, Chara and Soderberg are on their last couple of years, so he's in the next group to carry the Bruins on.
Yeah, he's going to look up during the national anthem and see those banners up there, see, number 4, and he's going to see, the Neelys and the others, the Espositos that have been, their jerseys have been retired. And I mean, what a fantastic organization, and what a history, they've had. And, the fact that, the one thing I want to talk about Charlie, we can talk, you got to have something to make it the National Hockey League. And one of the things that I think Charlie McAvoy, the youngster, has is he can skate. And how in this present day and age, if you can't skate, the game has become speed. And I've been watching it for years, and if you can't move with the puck, you're not going to be in the National Hockey League too much. And from what I got from the scouts that I had seen in the top 30 picks, he was probably rated number 2 as far as skating is concerned. So a defenseman with speed to move the puck, that's fantastic.
Look at what Carl Hagelin did for Pittsburgh. A guy that could fly. Made such a difference for the Penguins, and they won the cup, and I think he was a key part of it with that speed.
Yeah. Well, when the defenseman gets the puck, you want him to get it up to the forwards, but if you got a defenseman that can use his legs and take 5 or 6 strides and get out of your own zone and get into the other team's zone, that is phenomenal. So he's got all the physical skills. He just needs a little polish, and I think he's going to have a great National Hockey League future.
And the other thing, too, Stemmer, and you can talk more about this than most people, is that the family. And I think for a young kid to be put in this position, to be drafted by any team in the Professional Hockey League, he comes from a great family. Great parents, great family, he's got great friends. To me, how important is that he's got a great family behind him?
Well, support is big. I mean, there was a mother and a father that drove that kid to practice at 5 o'clock in the morning. There's a mother, father, family members that drove him out of state when they had to go to a tournament, during the Thanksgiving holidays. So there was sacrifices, and we should always point that out. And when you looked at the draft yesterday, and they pointed to the mother, and they pointed to the father and the sisters, it's a group effort. Everybody has to chip in, help, and sacrifice so that young man will make it to the National Hockey League. Right behind us, Charles McAvoy. His father is a big surfer, loves the game. His mother is an ardent fan, drove him around. He's got strong family support, and the businesses here in Long Beach, 100% behind Charles McAvoy.
And and the story has been told many times, but it needs to be repeated, that after Hurricane Sandy, the McAvoys were one of the leading families in Long Beach, doing so much for the community.
Yeah, they did. He surfed. He went and helped people, helped rebuild people. That's something that isn't put in the front page of the newspaper, but it's a family effort here. And I came here in Long Beach by accident back in the early 70s. I didn't know Long Beach from Timbuktu when I got traded to the New York Rangers, but I've been here for over 40 years, and I know the closeness of this community. It is Ranger Town, but right now we're going to have to put that aside, and it's going to come Boston Bruin Town, at least for today, as far as Charles McAvoy is concerned.
And you know what, Stem? I was at the park last night, and when you heard his name and you saw him hugging his mother and father, the joy of Long Beachers could be felt. Everybody was just so happy, and that's what Long Beach is all about. Everyone in Long Beach feels so happy for the McAvoy family, and it's like everyone in this community is enjoying and feeling so good about what just happened.
Well, first of all, we have to throw a little caution to the wind. I mean, we're all very happy that you become a first-round pick. If he decides to stay with the Boston Bruins and sign a contract with them, he's going to have a good career. But boy, the stepping stones that are involved in this, he's going to probably go back to junior for another year. He's going to get stronger. I'm sure they're going to get him on the weight program. They'd love to have him play at the NHL level. I'm sure he'll play some exhibition games with the Bruins this coming training camp. But this is only the first step of many, many, many will go. But let's celebrate this weekend. There's not too many guys from Long Beach, New York, get drafted in the first round of the National Hockey League.
That's absolutely true. Pete, we want to thank you, a Ranger legend who knows the McAvoy family so well, and everyone in Long Beach is so excited that Charles McAvoy grew up here in Long Beach, drafted in the very first round to the Boston Bruins. And you know what? I'm from Boston. I'm thrilled he was picked by the Bruins, but you know what? I would have been thrilled if he was picked by any team in the NHL. The fact that he's a Bruin is, to me, icing on the cake. But people in Long Beach should celebrate the fact that it's only 4 hours away. You want to spend a weekend in Boston. It's a great city. Watch Charlie play. It's wonderful. It's a great city, and I think that Long Beach is going to be so happy when he makes it to the NHL.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see when the Boston Bruins come into Brooklyn, play the Islanders. It's going to be interesting to see how many people are on that 5:15 train when the Boston Bruins play the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. I know that's the one I take to get to the 7 o'clock games at MSG. So when the Bruins are playing at the Garden against the Rangers, get to that train station early, because there are going to be a lot of people going on that from Long Beach going on this train to see Charles play with the Boston Bruins.
And I read this morning Charles's all-time idol is a guy you know very well, Brian Leach. And I know deep inside it's going to be tough to turn your loyalties because he's a lifelong Ranger fan. But I think deep inside he'll always have a special place in his heart for the Rangers. But now that he is a Bruin, he's got to turn those loyalties to Boston.
Yeah, you can't choose who you really want to play for. I mean, when I was growing up, I was a little tyke. I rooted for the Chicago Blackhawks. I never ended up playing for them. I did not like the New York Rangers. Forget it. I mean, I'm 9, 10, 11 years old. No, I don't want any part of those guys. Toronto Maple Leafs, no part of them. I kind of rooted for the Montreal Canadiens. Who would I end up with? I end up with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Rangers. But just the fact that he's in the National Hockey League, that's the thing that he has to be proud of most.
Pete, we're going to follow the story. This is only the beginning. And let's follow the story, and I think we should get together as he nears his accession to the NHL, and I think someday it's going to be great when we get together and say, wasn't it great watching Charlie play for the Bruins in Boston?
Yeah, it is, and they're going to bring in all these youngsters in this week. They bring all their prospects into Boston, so he knows his way to town, and it's going to be an interesting training camp for the Boston Bruins, and in particular for Charles McAvoy. I'm very interested to see how he goes against the big boys when training camp starts in late September.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Howie,
the Ranger legend, Pete Stemkowski.